Welcome back, everyone, to Son of a Binge. I'm Reshma Gopaldas. We took a short little break, maybe because I had COVID, maybe because I went to Greece, but we are back and ready to binge. And I'm so excited about my guest today. You know, we actually worked together on my very first movie. He starred in it, and I was in the background of every single scene. And, you know, since then, he has been on Schitt's Creek, Mr. Robot, Outsourced, Arrested Development, and most recently, he's starring on Wedding Season on Netflix. Everyone, Rizwan Manji. Hey, Riz.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Yes, you are. You know, I recently watched American Desi again. And you are in more scenes than I am. I just want you to know. You are in every scene.
Every single scene. So let's tell everyone how we met. We met as young 20-somethings, I think.
Yeah.
Which was basically 5 years ago, if anyone's wondering and wants to do math, don't. And it was a movie called ABCD originally, which stands for American Born Desi.
Confused Desi.
Confused Desi. And what that refers to is Desi kids, Indian kids, like myself, who grew up maybe in Connecticut and are super confused and thought they were white until they were like 17 years old. And Riz, do you remember like who you played and everything?
Yeah, so I played Salim Ali Khan. There was four of us, Indian, South Asian students who ended up becoming roommates, because that's what happens, I guess, in college. we were all in the engineering program. We all became roommates, and there was a Sikh roommate, Hindu. There was two Hindu roommates, but one of them was like a guy who liked hip hop. That was Cal Penn, and I was the Muslim roommate. And yeah, so it was just a bunch of Indian roommates, and it was our story. And then the title got changed because there was another movie that came out called ABCD, so we had to change our title to American Desi in it.
So let me just set the scene for you. The first day I got on set, I was just supposed to be a production assistant helping out. And they were like, "Hey, Reshma, would you mind being in the background of this scene?" And I was like, "Oh, sure. I'll do like extra work, whatever." And so they're like, "Okay, great. Just go change. You have to take your clothes off. It's a shower scene, and we'll have someone give you a towel and spritz you." And I'm like such a young thing, and I was like, wow, Hollywood really gets you on day one. And all of a sudden I'm taking my clothes off and I'm in this group shower scene and we're running away from maybe your character or someone's character. Yeah. I think Aladdin maybe too.
Me, Aladdin, and Cal. I was in a full-on burqa.
Yeah.
Because I was pretending I had to hide from my crush, I guess's parents, because I was in her dorm room.
Yeah.
And it was at 4:00 in the morning, so you were basically in a shower in a towel at 4:00 in the morning. That was I didn't know that was your first. That was my
first day on set, and then every single day they put me in a new scene. So if you guys look very carefully at this movie, you will see that Rizwan stars in it, but really I do.
But there should be another movie of like, what was Reshma doing
in every single
while
scene.
Everything else was going on.
They're like, "How'd you start your career?" I was like, "With my clothes off and sort of wet." I wish I hadn't said that out loud, but I did. All right, so we have to talk a little bit about Schitt's Creek because it's Schitt's Creek. Yay. It's a work of art, and like who hasn't seen that show? I haven't. Riz, I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen the show?
I was going to lie to you for like the whole episode.
Are you being serious or are you?
No, I'm being serious, Riz. I didn't know how to tell you as we were like planning this for the last few months.
Oh no. You're one of the lucky few who gets to watch it like brand new, and with you'll get to enjoy it from the beginning. We started this show. It's been a while since we started, because I started on episode 2, like right off season 1, and it was airing in Canada on CBC, and then like on Pop TV in the United States, and I would tell people to watch it, and they were like, "We don't know what that channel is. We don't know what the show is." Like nobody knew what it was. And then I think it was Netflix. Like, it all of a sudden, like, I think 3 or 4 years later, ended up on Netflix. And then everyone's like, Riz, you didn't tell me you were on the show. And I'm like, yeah, actually, I did tell you I was on the show. And you were like, I don't know what this channel is, and I want to watch it. So, yeah, it seems like everybody in the world's watched it.
Except me. You know, after our episode airs, I will watch it and I will live tweet it. Okay?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. I'll be like, I'm the only person who hasn't seen Schitt's Creek. And
you're gonna get all these people who are gonna like watch it again with you, because I get DMs and Instas and what, I don't know, are they called Instagram posts or whatever, comments and tweets about people being like, I'm rewatching it for the 17th time. I was like, oh my, that's like me, and like I watch late night Golden Girls over and over again. So.
Riz, I love that. Who's your favorite Golden Girls character?
You know what? It's so funny because in different parts of as you age, you just start like connecting with different ones. I always thought Rose was my favorite, maybe because I always feel like I'm the dumb one. But now I'm like, I think Sophia's my favorite one. All of a sudden,
I know I've gravitated fully to Sophia, but I think in the mornings when
you
have that,
you definitely have that wit, which is good.
That's good. Yeah, but I'm Dorothy before I have my coffee. I'm like a little curmudgeon.
I've been appreciating Dorothy a lot more as I've been getting older.
I mean, she kind of knew what was up.
She knew. She was like the only sensible one, really.
Yeah. So the Golden Girls is your comfort show. I love that.
Yeah, it's really like if been bouts of anxiety recently, and I'm like, sometimes you just want to watch something that you are like, I remember this from my childhood, and it's gonna be the same. I'm gonna laugh at the same jokes, and it's still funny. So, and now my kids watch it with me sometimes, and they know they can sing the whole theme song, and so that's good.
I love that. I love it. And a little bit more about Schitt's Creek.
Yeah.
Do you remember like when you started on that show? Is there some kind of funny story you can tell all the people who I know like are addicted to that show, including my producer Emily right now listening?
This doesn't happen a lot, or it didn't happen at that time. It was one of the first few things that I got just offered based on my like demo reel, which is like, you send your stuff. They had, and they're like, oh, this guy would be good. So when I showed up, the first thing I did was I did a table read of not the first episode I shot, a different episode. And we just sort of did a table read, and I didn't really know what was going on. That was the first time I was meeting everybody, and I thought, oh, I'll do it. And then, they'll say, don't do it like this, do it differently. And so I did the table read, and then I talked to Dan, and he's like, yeah, do it like that. It's great. And so my first actual scene of shooting was, now imagine, like, I'm still like super nervous, and there's all these like comedy legends in this show. And my first scene is a scene between me, Eugene, and Catherine in the diner, where I'm like, we're just meeting each other, and I'm like, I'm the real estate agent of the town, and here's my card, and all this stuff, and it was so surreal. Like, first of all, I'm so like, I can't believe this is happening, right? You're like, this is my life. I'm doing a scene with Eugene and Catherine. They're like, everybody's like, and then Eugene and Catherine, who are like a married couple, okay, they ended up arguing in a fun way about what would be funnier, right? Like, what would it be funnier this way? Would it be funnier this way? And they were just sort of, and meanwhile, I'm like actually in that, I was like just sitting there, and we were in a diner space, so they were in a booth, but I was in a chair outside the booth, which had a little bit of a like a drop. So I was already short, so I was sitting shorter than them. They were sitting higher than me in a booth, and I was just like watching them like in real life arguing. And then in my mind, I was like, because you're listening, and I'm like, Catherine's way is funnier. Like, it's just funnier. Like, it's, to me, what she was describing was funnier.
Yeah.
And so I didn't say anything, because I'm not gonna. So they did it, and the director came and he's like, guys, we really have to shoot. Why don't we just shoot it both ways, right? And and so they came in, and they did Eugene's way. And as soon as Eugene's way was done, I think he was like, no, Catherine's way is funnier. Like, he also then was like, no, you're right, Catherine's way is funnier. So it was we all came to the same consensus, and then we ended up doing it.
Oh, I love it. Were you like, please don't ask me, please don't ask me?
Please don't. Oh, I'm not gonna choose. It's like when we ask my kid, who's your favorite? She's like, I'm not gonna answer that. I'm not gonna answer that question. He's brilliant. By the way, he's brilliant. Like, Eugene. His comedic timing is impeccable. Like, there was you remember the knock knock scene where I come in and I just walk in. I'm like, knock knock, and I walk in. You don't remember that because you didn't watch it.
I know, I'm
but
such a failure.
Anybody who's listening, I'm saying this to everybody who's listening. You know the scene where I come in and I'm like, do you want anything for breakfast? Anyway, in that scene, I was knocking and walking in, and Eugene basically said, you know what? What I was doing it at the same time. I was saying the line and knocking at the same time, and he said, Riz, say the line. Oh, sorry, knock and then say the line. And I was like, why? That's so specific. And I did it, and it was so much funnier. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's feeling it. Like, while he's watching, like, he can feel what's funny, and it's like tell. That takes a special talent. I wish this was such an amazing conversation because you would have watched the show, and we would have like.
I know. I just like this, but if there's anything I can fail at, I will. Okay. Well, I was going to ask you.
I'm so glad that.
This is just Rizwan yelling at me on the podcast now, guys. Wait, so can you quickly tell me, I know you shared Catherine and Eugene. What did you learn from like Dan and Annie? Is there anything you could share about that?
Yeah, they're, first of all of them are super, super fun. Like, it's rare that you get a cast where everybody is like funny in a different way. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And, I had limited scenes with Annie, but the ones that I had, she's first of all, she's a super nice person, and it was just fun to do the scenes with her. Super funny. Dan, had some scenes with him, but mainly, worked with him because he was sort of like the creator of all, of that show, like writer, director, everything. I just, it was a really, really fun experience. I really hope that they come up with doing like something else, like a movie or a follow-up, because I really miss doing it. I miss it. It was really you don't miss it until it's over, right? You're like, oh yeah, this is something I'd like fly down twice a year to like shoot my scenes, because I wasn't in every episode, right? So I'd come in and be like, oh great, this was fun, and then I go do like my other stuff, and I miss it. It was a really fun time.
Yeah, I have to ask you, who was your favorite actor to work with?
I think this is like an easy one. It actually, and it was Eugene at the end. He's just, he's first of all, he's really funny in a way that you wouldn't expect. Yeah. I feel like he thinks like me. He's very you think he's gonna be like, oh, like because he's a comedian, so he's gonna be like, oh, no, he's very specific, and I really love that. It's like almost like math. Do you know what I mean? And I just feel like those scenes were working with him was a lot of fun. So yeah,
I love that. Usually if someone described hanging out with me or working with me as math, I'd be like, wow, that's so insulting. But you made it sound amazing.
I am South Asian and I do love math. So there's that as well.
We do. Like, give us a math equation, guys. We will solve it.
Oh my God. Everything I've said, Eugene's going to listen to this. He's going to be like, no, he's not coming back for the movie.
He's like, absolutely not.
Awful things he said about me.
Or to put it in math terms, you've been subtracted.
I've been subtracted from the movie.
Okay, so before we get to why you're here and what show you binged, I do want to do a little shitty trivia here.
Yes. Oh,
it's just 3.
You want to do shitty trivia?
No. Like, you have to play it. I like Googled to make sure I got this right. There's just 3 questions. Don't worry.
Yes.
Okay. Moira Rose tries to cook what meal in family dinner?
Oh my God, I know this.
Do you want me to make it multiple choice?
Yes, please.
Okay. Fajitas.
I'm gonna get it wrong, and then I'm gonna be as embarrassed as you are.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for. Fajitas, enchiladas, oysters, or chili rellenos. Do you like how I said that last one? I practiced.
I loved it.
He's like, I don't give a shit about your Spanish.
I know there was like fold in the cheese. Is that the enchiladas?
You're correct. You got it.
Oh my god.
I just put oysters in there because I was like, who would cook oysters? Okay, what is the name of the song that Patrick sings for David on their wedding day? I Will Always Love You.
I know it. I don't think I need it. Is it Simply the Best?
Close. Always Be My Baby, Simply the Best, or Baby Come Back.
It's not Simply the Best?
Apparently, according to Google, and not me, because I haven't seen the show, Simply the Best was like a karaoke thing in an earlier season.
Oh, that's right. Okay, you're right.
So it's I Will Always Love You, Always Be My Baby, or Baby Come Back.
Always Be My...
You got it, yeah.
Oh my God, the one. I'm going to get canceled from this show. Why do I not know that?
I know. Okay. Don't worry, you got Simply the Best.
Simply the Best is possibly the best moment of, like, the show, you know?
How many jobs has Ray had on Schitt's Creek? Can you name them all?
Okay, I can... Do you have multiple choice on that?
No.
Okay, so I know some. Okay, so travel agent, closet organizer...
Yes.
Town council, photographer, videographer.
Yes. Ooh.
Christmas tree salesman.
Yes. No, last
I did the auctioneer.
Oh, I did
the auction.
Bonus. What did he first come on as? I think I know this one.
Oh, the real estate agent, of course.
Yes, you got it.
I wasn't doing that one because real estate agent. Did I get all of them?
You got all of them. You got more than Google pulled up, actually.
I did it. I was the auctioneer at the... And I feel like there was other things that I randomly did.
Yeah, wait, I have a question. What was Ray Butani's full name? I know Moira called him...
It was Ray Butani. I don't think that there was any...
Okay. Moira apparently called him Raymond.
Raymond. She did. I feel like she might have been the only one who called me Raymond.
Yeah. What if it was like... There's an Indian name that Ray is short for that you
Raymond.
And I don't know.
Oh my God, Raymond.
Raymond. That kind of sounds like my name.
She's just like Raymond. She was great in that one scene at the diner when she talks about my complexion. I loved it. It was so like, oh my gosh.
I can't wait to watch it. I really can't.
Lovely complexion.
All right, I promise I will watch it. All right, let's get to why we're here. Your binge show. First of all...
Oh my God. Okay. First of all, I have to say that I am now going to be in trouble because we were supposed to do this a while back, right?
Yeah.
And so I haven't watched it since then.
Oh, don't worry.
And I was ready to talk about it then. Now I'm like, do I remember any of the stuff?
I know.
All right, I know. So you'll need to forgive me now, too.
What show are you or did you want to talk about for your binge?
Before I'm in. Bridgerton, because I think when we were gonna do this, I had just watched season 2 of Bridgerton.
Yeah. What hooked you on the show?
So it's really funny because I am not a period piece type of... I don't like to watch, and I'll tell you honestly why. Because a lot of period pieces are... Can I be completely honest? Like, it's
totally honest.
I'm an actor, and I was like, I don't see myself ever being cast in these because they say, oh, we're doing it in, Victorian times, and there was no brown people, whatever. And then I was like, I'll never get cast in this. So it doesn't feel like it speaks to me. But then I found out, like, while season 1 was still airing, a friend of mine, Gitika Lazardi, who wrote on Outsourced, posted, she's like, I'm going to be writing on season 2 of Bridgerton. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then when I looked into it, I was like, oh, this is a multi-culty, like a diverse cast. This is going to be interesting. So I ended up, I was like, oh, let me watch one episode of the first season of Bridgerton. And I think I ended up binging the whole thing in that one night. It's not my type of show. Like, it was not what I would typically, like, watch. Like, if I had a choice, I wouldn't, like, go like, oh, that would have been... But I think with her, and then seeing the trailer and being like, oh, there's people of color in this, and so I ended up watching it, and I loved the first season, like, really, really loved the first season. I just thought the music, like, the contemporary music, the way that they did that was just so cool. And everybody was super hot in it. It was like, what is happening right now? And like,
it was candy, to be honest.
It was just like,
it was just,
but it was
so
fun,
easy to watch.
you know?
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, and I got completely invested in all the characters and their stories, and so yeah, I ended up I binged the entire first season of Bridgerton. And then when season 2 came out, that's the season that Geetika wrote on. I was like, yeah, definitely gonna watch it again. And I really, look, I was so pleasantly surprised about the South Asian storyline, which I, obviously loved. And I enjoyed it. It's funny, in retrospect, I think I enjoyed season 1 better than season 2 because I had no expectations of season 1. Does that make sense? Yeah. And then in season 2, I liked it, but I don't think I binged the whole thing in one night. Like, I think it took me several days to do it.
It was different pacing. Okay, going back a bit, you told me, like, what got you hooked on it, but that it's not exactly your type of show. It's no Golden Girls, I think we can agree.
It's not Golden Girls. It's not a multicam of 50 to 60-year-old women. So,
Rizwan's sweet spot is like older white women.
Older white women in a multi-cam. Yes.
So, what I always like to do is, for those who have not watched Bridgerton, if you had to describe it in 30 seconds or less to try and convince someone to watch it, how would you do it?
Oh my Lord. Okay. So it's a show about... So the first season is the trope of fake dating trope. So they are...
This is like terrible. I just want you to know you're 20 seconds in and you're like, so...
I'm like, I can't summarize it. It'll take me like an hour and you still won't know what the show's about. Okay, 2 people fake date in Victorian times. Is that the correct thing? Elizabethan times?
In the past.
And they fake date to get out of having to pretend like they want to get set up at these sort of courtship parties that the queen sets up, and by doing that they end up falling in love and getting married.
Look at that. It's a little more complicated. I mean, it's really the worst, but you did a good job. I did say 30 seconds.
I just said also the plot of Wedding Season, which I'm in, by the way.
As you were talking,
I feel like I'm like, that's how I would describe Wedding Season.
Yeah, it's fully Indian Bridgerton Wedding Season.
It's funny because Bridgerton is Indian Bridgerton in season 2, but we are actually Indian Bridgerton season 1. That's
exactly. So I do have to say I totally agree with you that season 1, for me, I like season 1 the best, and season 2 I thought the pacing was a little slow for me, a little bit. And, people complain that season 2 didn't have enough sex in it. Which I have to say, like, I'm not looking for lots of sex scenes, but I do have to say, I think it was part of the pacing. Like, you're like, why do these 2 people, like, love each other or like each other? Like, in that first scene between Anthony and Kate, I was like, oh, okay, they have chemistry. They have some... fighty chemistry. Let's go from there. But then all of a sudden they wanted us to believe that they had fallen for each other. Yeah. And the sister, like, I also thought it was a little unrealistic from an Indian perspective, because Kate would be the priority, not the younger sister. So.
Yes. Although there was this sort of aspect of her being the illegitimate sister, right? Like, she was...
Oh, that's true.
So there was a whole bunch of South Asian politics that they didn't really... Like, it would have been interesting... That's what I mean. It would have been interesting if they went further with all of that, right? Like...
and got into their family
because
a
there
bit.
was politics there, because she was the... She's...
Wait, Kate Sharma was a bastard?
She wasn't the daughter of the... She was the daughter of the dad. That.
Okay.
So she was not really the daughter of the mom that was there.
Okay, right? So quick question. I think so, but what is...
They're half-sisters.
What is a female bastard? I just thought of this.
I don't know if she was... I'm not going to use that word, but...
Okay, I did it. Rizwan did not do it.
I'm so... Yeah, I'm feeling like... Did I remember this wrong, and am I just telling people the wrong thing? But yeah,
I feel like there was something like they were half-sisters, and I think you're right. I think there was like some
because the mom basically took her in as well, because she was the Because I think that was the problem, right? The mom left to go marry this guy who already had a kid, and then they had a kid together, right? That was the storyline.
I think so. We both remember such great details about this we'll just say Kate was kind of a bastard. Sorry.
Oh my God.
Sorry. But in olden times,
I think the sister storyline, like Kate's sister, what was her name? Chan?
She was Edwina, I think.
Edwina.
Yeah. But it was played by Charitra Chandran.
Yes. I think that I had a similar issue with her was that I was invested in her, and I was like, how are they going to get out of this? Because there's no possible solution to this where I feel like they don't wrong the sister. Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
Because she was so kind. They didn't make her bad in any way. So to do this to her at the last minute when she could have easily been like, look, I love this guy, and I think, but even the ending, I felt like it was too much. Like, oh, okay. I just felt so bad for the sister.
I felt terrible for the sister. And also I didn't know, I was like, besides having like a physical attraction to each other, I just didn't see where this love was coming from. I think that, you know, for me, the weakest character in the show, my favorite character, I have to say, was Regé-Jean Page's Simon.
So good.
I think when he left the show, it really hurt them. I feel like if he could have just done one more season, or he could come back for one more season, I think it would really strengthen the kind of backbone of the show, because Daphne and Simon and the Duke's story was very, it was very foundational to the show. Yeah. And then to lose that, Anthony was set up nicely, but he was my least favorite character, I have to be honest, because no disrespect to Jonathan Bailey. He is really amazing, but I feel like they should have taken more time making him more vulnerable, developing him, and then looking into the Sharma sisters, because it just felt like they were just being a jerk to Edwina, and they could have gotten out of that much sooner.
Yeah. That was my thing with this. I couldn't get over not feeling bad for her, and so that was a problem. However, I have to say that the storylines of the other characters I really found really interesting. Like, even to the point where, God, I don't remember anybody's name, but the other family who has the two sisters who are never getting married, and like,
is that with Nicola Coughlan's Penelope?
Yes, all of them. Yeah. I just I'm so invested in them. I think they're fascinating. Even the younger sister and her new Theo, the new boyfriend. Yeah. At the all of that I was like, oh my God, what's gonna happen?
I know. So in season 3, I think Nicola's Penelope character and Colin are the main love story, and
that's gonna be interesting.
I think that will be real, because I love her. I think she's
she's so great.
She's so fantastic. She seems like she's such a cool person, but her character is the most interesting by far. And I almost don't hope she doesn't end up with Colin, because I feel like he doesn't treat her well. He's the one she loves so much, I think, and he always is like, "Oh, hey, girl."
Yeah, I think there was a line. I think there was in last season there. He was like, "Yeah, I would never." I think people were making fun of him, and he's like, "Don't be ridiculous. That would never happen." But I kind of feel like it's a setup for.
It's a total setup. That's why I was like, but I hope they. So if you could play one character in season 3, who would it be?
Oh wow. Well, I'd obviously want to be like a new character. I want to be. Who do I want to be? Are the Sharmas back in season 3?
So I feel like they are going to integrate them better than they couldn't do it, because notice Daphne was in this season, but I think because Regé left and the Duke wasn't around, they couldn't put them in the story as much. So I do think the Sharmas will be back.
Are back. I guess I'd have to be age appropriate. Can I play a love interest? Because the mom's now doesn't have a love interest. Why not?
Oh, that's true.
Why not have a love interest for the mom?
That actress is great too.
She's great.
She's awesome. I feel like I recognized her from so many movies. Yeah. I also would like to see you play Penelope, the other love interest that gets in the way between Colin and Penelope.
Oh, I think you could. I wish I was younger. Then I could totally do that. Actually,
listen.
why not? I'll do. Can you please put out a memo? Maybe my friend who's the writer, Geetika, I'll be like, listen, if you're writing in season 3, make this happen.
Yeah, we'll casually drop this podcast episode in her inbox and see what she thinks. Well, on that note, I decided a lot of times I audition actors for the show. And so I'm gonna give you a scene, but here's the thing, don't get nervous. Don't get nervous.
So nervous right now.
I want to know what it would be like if Ray Butani was on Bridgerton. And we're going to call this Schitterton. And it's simple. I
don't think I could do it.
I feel like you might be shocked by yourself. Okay, here we go. You're going to play Simon, except Simon is now Ray Butani. Ray? And I will play Daphne, I guess. I should drink before these things because my British accent is painful. Like, really painful. Okay, so let's have you start.
I'm doing it as a total cold read because I've not read this at all.
No, yes. Everyone do not judge his acting on this. The Bridgerton cast or crew, like casting director, please know I'm putting him on the spot. And obviously Ray Butani's not going to be on Bridgerton.
So, why not?
I mean, obviously he is. I just want you to be on as a new character. But okay, I want them to see your versatility here. Okay, Ray. Okay. Take it from everything I told the Queen.
Everything I told the Queen was true. I cannot stop thinking of you. From the mornings you ease, to the evenings you quiet, to the dreams you inhabit, my thoughts of you never end. I am yours, Daphne. I have always been yours.
I do not understand.
I do not know how to be any more clear.
Do not get angry.
I am not angry.
You look angry. I'm sorry, I'm so into your performance, I forgot that Daphne's British.
By the way, Ray never gets angry, so I cannot play angry with Ray. Ray never
Well, he's not.
Angry.
Simon is flushed.
I'm not angry at all, ever.
Yeah. So, you look angry and bothered. Look at you. Are you downright flushed?
Yes, that is what happens.
When one is angry?
When one burns for someone who does not feel the same.
You burn for me?
Why do you think I followed you into the garden? Why do you think I went into the garden? If you would have only looked at me this week for longer than 2 seconds, you would have seen. It is you I cannot sacrifice. I burn for you.
And scene. That was excellent. Wow.
Oh my God. I am getting canceled in so many different ways.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so sorry this podcast ended your career, but it's only fair that I started my career upstaging you and I'm ending your career.
Thank you.
That was brilliant. And obviously, one thing I do want to ask,
yeah.
Do you think today, if Schitt's Creek got made, do you think Ray Butani would have had an accent?
That's a really interesting question because I did a whole article on this and I got into a whole bunch of trouble for it. But what was really funny was, again, it was something that I was offered, right? At that time, I didn't know what they wanted. Like, I didn't know if they wanted an accent, if they didn't. But most of the stuff on my demo was an accent. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I figured if they cast me, they probably want the accent. I probably should have asked. I also knew friends that were auditioning for it, like who had actually auditioned, and they had auditioned without an accent, and sometimes they were asked with. So I didn't know it was the whole gamut of things. I just made a choice in that first table read, and then I went to Dan. I was like, "Hey, what'd you think?" He was like, "Just do it like that." Again, I don't think anybody thought about it. In my mind, what made sense to me was that they were in this small town in Canada, and I felt like if Ray sounded slightly different, like, I didn't want it to be like a thick Indian accent. I just wanted it to be like, he sounds like he's not from, like, he wasn't born in Canada. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, very slight. Again, I feel like there's definitely been articles written, there's been issues with it, and I 100% agree with everybody having their own thoughts on it. I think what I said in the article was, and it wasn't specifically about Schitt's Creek, it was about my career as a whole, because I've done accents a lot and I haven't done accents, and I don't go into a thing going, hey, is this racist or is this stereotypical because it has an accent? What I always want to be concerned about, and that's not necessarily the case. It doesn't happen. Is this character three-dimensional? Because because people have accents. People have accents. My dad has an accent. He's not a horrible person. Do you know what I mean? So, and he's not stereotypical. He's not. That's the accent I do. I do a light version of my dad's accent. People exist. None of that is okay. I think it's okay to have a character that's funny who has an accent. Yeah, it's weird if for 6 seasons you're only laughing at his accent, then I probably did a bad job.
Exactly. If the accent is the humor and the only humor, then we have a problem.
That's right.
But, you know, I have to say, to add on, when we started, even in the movie we did together, you had an accent in that. And I think as Indians growing up in America, a lot of our humor was linked, like it or not, the way white television framed us and white films, and this goes for all types of Asians, is with an accent. Like we were the funny sidekick, and we were, and it's taken a while to evolve from that. But your character on Schitt's Creek, I actually do think that I have watched a few episodes in the background. I will be watching it. I'm just really getting in trouble here. But you know, I think your accent wasn't the only thing about your character.
No, I hope that's the thing is I hope not, and that's okay to like. Look, I'm willing to have that conversation. If there's people who feel that way, great. We can definitely have a discussion. There should be a whole thing on it, right? About what that was. There's definitely other places where I get confused as to why they don't do an accent, right? Like why, you know, people talk about outsource. I mean, we were the show took place in India, and then they would have all these conversations about the accent. I'm like, but what did you want? Did you want did you want us to not have an accent, or did you want the producers to just have cast people who were really from India, who had actually you know, been like they actually were born with an accent, which then puts us into thinking: Are you guys limiting my work? Because Meryl Streep doesn't get asked to have a accent that she was born in. She can play any accent that she wants.
She can do anything,
right?
That's true.
Why do I have to only play somebody who has an American or Canadian accent? So there's a whole bunch of issues with that. Even with Bridgerton, I was actually you know, we talked about Bridgerton. I was actually confused in Bridgerton as well, as like. Some of them were born in India, so at some points they were doing an accent, and sometimes they weren't. I mean, it didn't affect me, like it didn't like bother me in the thing, but I did. But as somebody who's had to deal with it, I asked the question. I'm like, are they supposed to have? Like, I got that the mother was born in England, so I get that. The two daughters were born in India. So were they supposed to have an accent? And sometimes they did, and sometimes they didn't.
I was confused, but remember, I think there is a part of Bridgerton, although it's very diverse and multicultural, that still is making this for a white audience. Because take Kate Sharma, her name is actually Kathani, right? Yeah. And Anthony says that in the final episode. Yeah. And there's something that really rubbed me the wrong way about that. I wish they had introduced her the way, like Kathani from the beginning. Yeah. Because I was like, oh, you're trying to whitewash their names a little bit. Like Kate, that's easy for us to... Although
I think it might have been from the book, right? Like, was her name Kate in the book, and then they just made Sharma as a last name? Because
maybe.
Because I think they were trying to put Katani... I don't know. Again, I don't know. And that's the... And I always find, like, I want to give people the benefit of the doubt, because it's... People just think, they just made a decision. But, like, there's a lot of thought that goes into all of these things. And even
and a lot of people in the room.
Yeah. So,
and I did say when Anthony said her name, Kathani, like the way it's supposed to be pronounced, there was something very
moving,
that you loved about that. But I still think they should have added some episodes where we see their relationship develop, and we say these two people love each other, that poor sister, but there's no way to stand in between these two.
Yeah.
But, you know, I do want to say, and this would probably be a whole nother podcast episode, you know, for Indian actors in America, I don't think it's easy. I do think we still, you know, I have a lot of Indian actor friends, and one of my friends, he says like pretty much once every 2 weeks, he's like, oh, I got another call for a cab driver. I got another call for a bodega owner. And I know earlier, like when we all first started out, there were lots of calls for that. How often do you get called for those types of roles, whether it's cab driver or bodega owner or whatever?
Yeah. So I'm, you know, knock on wood, I feel like I've been very lucky. So, I obviously did a lot of that when I started out, but um, again, it's not the role in and of itself. I'm getting um larger roles where where the characters have developed stories. So even if it is a cab driver, it's going to be a cab driver, at least if I'm going to be a part of it, that has some story,
life beyond
right?
Just
like
that.
it's not just like if it's just the cab driver with 2 lines. I thankfully I'm not at that place in my career right now that I don't have to do that, right? So
and do you get asked to do Indian accents?
Yes, I mean, and sometimes I suggest it too. Like, look, I just did this movie in Toronto. I'm playing a Pakistani father in the 1990s. Like, and yes, I would have an Indian, I would have a Pakistani accent.
Absolutely,
I even spoke Urdu in it, right? Like, that doesn't make sense. It's not, nobody's gonna watch this movie if I'm speaking like this. It doesn't make sense, right? So when it makes sense, I don't want to limit to be like, oh, I'm not doing accents anymore. No, I'll do a British accent terribly, and I want to do the stuff, but I want it to make sense. Like, it needs to be realistic.
Makes sense for the story.
That's it. That's what matters to me more. I think we get stuck on the accent conversation, and I think that's the part that bothers me, and that's what I was trying to say in this article.
I think you said it. I mean, obviously, I did read that article. I haven't watched your show that you're known for, but I have read your articles because I am a good friend. But wait, Riz, how's my British accent? Just out of curiosity.
Perfect. When we do American Daisy 2, when we're all in the senior citizens home, you will now have a speaking part, but in a British accent.
Yeah. Will I still be in every single scene?
Every scene. Yes.
Okay, I can't wait. Wait, so you do, like you said, it was such an interesting thing that you said Meryl Streep is asked to do all sorts of accents. So can you do multiple accents? Like, if I said to you, do an Irish accent, are you able to?
No, I will not do. I mean, I will have to work on it. I could probably do it. By the way, in movies, I've done multiple. Like, I did a whole movie where I did a French Canadian accent, right? Like, that was the accent that I did. I have done British. I have done, for whatever reason, I've done a lot of French. I did a whole play in French. I don't know why. But again, Indian, Middle Eastern, like, that's the thing is that we do accents because when we start, we're utility actors, right? They want, like, I want to plug you in here and I want to plug you in here. And so can you please do this? And can you please do this? I don't think there's anything wrong with doing accents. It's funny that we get backlash for doing the accent of our own people. Do you know what I mean?
I know it's really sometimes funny. I hesitate to do it. In one of my past episodes, I was impersonating my mom, and my guest at the time, Amanda Seales, said to me, she's like, "Oh, dude," I was like, I was going to do the accent. She's like, do it. She's like, our parents, we can do their accents because we know them so well.
And it's okay. Our parents are funny to us. Do you know what I mean? And we can again, I don't want to even the humor. I'm like, we don't want to limit we have things that are funny to us, right? Like, Outsourced, I think, was funny to a lot of people in the Indian community because it rang true to them, right? Yeah. And all the backlash that it was getting was from white reporters who were like, "This is right," but I was like, the Indian community was our number one viewer. So there's definitely a dichotomy here, which
there's a lot, and it's not just about the accent. I do think what was it, Miss Marvel? A lot of white reporters were like, "Oh, this isn't doing well compared to the other shows." I was like, "But it's doing really well in the demographics it should be."
Yeah, that's right.
I was like,
"That's right. We all
brown
watched
people, it, we're craving it. We're craving stuff that shows us on screen, and it can't just be Never Have I Ever, which is phenomenal, as the one lone show for brown people." So all right, well, Riz, this was so good, and I just have a few more questions here. Let me check. Okay, who on Bridgerton, which actor do you want to know what they're binging?
Wow. Who plays the mother of that who Penelope's mother?
Oh, Penelope's mother. Oh, I love her.
The fact that she was so awful and then I ended up feeling sorry for her, I was like, this woman is amazing. Right?
Penelope's mother in Bridgerton. Hold on. We're going to look that up now.
I'm so bad with names.
Holly Walker plays Portia Baroness Featherington.
Featherington, yes.
Yes. Okay. Who from season 1, which actor do you want to know what they're binging?
I'm going to pick Penelope. Nicola Coughlan. I want to know what she's watching because I like her so much. And I'm like, I feel like whatever she's watching, I would like.
I do too. I really feel like wasn't she in Dairy Girls too?
Yes.
Which I started. I haven't finished it yet. Schitt's Creek and Dairy Girls. It's on my list. Okay, and let's go to what's her name?
Polly Walker.
Yes.
The heiress of the Featherington throne or whatever it is.
I think she's a baroness, not an heiress.
Oh my lord. See, I don't know anything, guys. I am the worst. This is going to be the end of my career.
I know. I wonder at what point you'll get canceled in this. Probably when you didn't know Schitt's Creek. Every single part. Okay, and tell me this. What's your next binge?
Do you have suggestions? I've started some stuff that I really like.
Okay.
For whatever reason, I will watch Severance on the plane because it's playing on every flight. So I've watched now half a season, but I've only watched it on the plane. And I feel like when I try to watch it at home, I'm like, no, I'm going to wait till I get on a flight and I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, there's something really nice about being on a plane and watching something. Though I have to say, I also feel like I cry more on planes. Do you start crying on planes?
I don't.
Wow, you're probably one of the only. Most people cry on planes.
Really?
Who have a soul. Yeah.
Oh my god. I don't think I would cry during Severance though. I'm a little freaked out all the time.
No, I'm just like terrified during Severance. I almost started watching Manifest on the plane, but it's about a plane crash.
I watched the first season of Manifest. And like, probably not a good idea. Don't watch it on a plane.
I think watching it on land and not airborne is probably the way to go. But so Severance is one. Any others?
I think you know what I think I'm gonna do. I'm so excited that they won so many Emmys. I think I'm gonna start watching Abbott Elementary. I've watched a few episodes, but I feel like now that we're like what's into season 2 or whatever, I can watch.
Well, you should text me when you start watching it because I just started episode 1 because one of my future guests picked that show.
Oh yeah,
and Quinta is just like what a genius.
So I've watched a few episodes. I think I watched the pilot, which I really loved, and I watched another episode. But I think I'm gonna just sit down and watch it all.
Yeah, tell me when you start that again. I'll try and time
Cheryl
it
Lee
with
Ralph,
you.
so.
Oh my gosh! I think Quinta's like having to give her Emmy acceptance speech over the body of Jimmy Kimmel.
I didn't watch it. I'm like, I had to go back and see what was happening.
Jimmy should have gotten up. His bit was over. It was her moment. But someone photoshopped him out of the best photos, which I think is genius. Okay, so we know your next binge.
Yes.
We know you're in the middle of Severance. You're not done with it yet, right?
No.
Okay. It has a great finale. I'll say that to you. So I hope you get to fly somewhere soon. And then we'll start Abbott Elementary. And there you have it, guys. This is Rizwan Manji, star of Schitterton.
You know what? I bet you I get a job out of doing that audition. Like I literally.
I really think you should because it was phenomenal. I forgot that I was playing Daphne in that moment, and I was like, oh my god, Ray Butani.
I'm sure Emily has other things to say. The producer who quit is probably like,
she left. She had a soccer game and she just left.
Oh, she left. Okay.
She really did. That's why her chat box just went dark. All right, guys. Check Rizwan out on Netflix in Wedding Season. Riz, what did I text you? Do you remember this? When I started watching Wedding Season, do you remember what I texted you?
No, what did you text me?
I texted you, oh my god, you're playing the dad?
I am playing the dad.
But how did this happen? Like, remember when we were 20?
I don't even know. Because it's so funny, I did a movie with Hassan Minhaj. And he's like, and he is he wants to do like a podcast on American Desi because he's like, this is like my formative years. And and he's like, it's so, because he watched Wedding. So he's like, Riz, you were a college student in American Desi and now you're the dad.
Yeah. Wait, he watched American Desi?
Hassan, yeah.
You mean the film that you are a supporting character to
a supporting
my
character.
role?
He loved you in it, by the way. He mentioned specifically.
He's like that girl in the shower and every single scene. I actually saw Hassan at my office. He came in, I think he was filming with Rolling Stone or something.
Yeah.
And we share space. And like we ran into each other just like this. It looked like a scene from American Daisy. And I got so excited, and I really love him, but I also don't really get starstruck very often. So I was like, hi. And he's like, hi. And then I ran away.
God. He is the nicest guy ever, by the way. He would have been like, let's have coffee.
I know. Well, maybe Riz, we can do a little episode of Son of a Binge, and you can come on as a star of ABCD.
Yes.
So guys, you can check out Riz on Netflix, Wedding Season. Yes, he plays the dad. I think personally he does not belong in the dad role yet. Maybe the older brother who has an illegitimate child.
Ready for that.
And if you want to see Riz in like the very first movie I worked on, and you also want to see me in every single scene, you can check out ABCD or American Daisy. Sorry, American Daisy. And for those of you who have not watched Schitt's Creek, stop being such a shithead and go watch it. Talking to myself. All right, Riz, thanks so much.
Thanks, Reshma.